Stay safe, reduce your contacts. Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead Aherne. Today's top stories. The Cabinet's meeting this afternoon to sign off on extending the country's lockdown for another 6 weeks. The number of people in hospital with COVID-19 in Waterford has fallen below 40 for the first time since the start of January. And in sport, Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel has admitted he tried to sign Luis Suarez when he was still in charge at Paris Saint-Germain last summer. The Labour leader has said serious questions need to be asked about the Minister for Health's competency after a week of poor communications on the new Living with COVID plan. Ministers will meet this lunchtime to finalise the plan, which includes the reopening of schools and an extension of level 5 restrictions into April. Here's our political correspondent, Sean Defoe.
The reality is for many people this plan won't change much. Level 5 measures will be extended until April 5th with almost no lifting of restrictions in March. Schools will return on a phased basis from March 1st, starting with leaving certs in junior infants to second class at primary level. Last night, Health Minister Stephen Donnelly cast some doubt on the reopening on television before walking back his comments in a tweet, something which led to Labour leader Alan Kelly questioning his competence.
Do not speak unless you know what you're talking about. The Minister last night did not know what he was talking about.
The wider construction sector is set to stay closed until April, something Sinn Féin's housing spokesman Owen O'Brien says is unfortunate but necessary.
So I want the builders back on site as quickly as possible, but we cannot put people's health at risk.
The new COVID plan won't contain many reopening dates beyond March, which Social Democrats TD Holly Kearns believes is more realistic than Boris Johnson's plan.
You know, saying, in 9 weeks' time or in July we'll look at opening up society, like what is that actually based on? If we don't pick a number and work towards that, are they just picking a random date?
It's expected the Taoiseach will address the nation this evening around 6 o'clock to outline the full details of the plan. Sean Defoe, Leinster House.
Parents are welcoming the return to school and creches from next week, but there's disappointment and frustration for other sectors of society which are set to remain closed for another 6 weeks, as Stephanie Rowan reports.
After a long few weeks of homeschooling and trying to keep toddlers entertained, it's a welcomed relief for many that schools and creches are slowly set to reopen. Elaine Dunn from the Federation of Early Childcare Providers says creches are as safe as they can be with the current case numbers.
I mean, I think a child is safer in a creche than they are in a park playground for sure, because we have huge protocols to follow. We have fantastic policies and procedures.
There's disappointment and frustration though from many other sectors. Margaret O'Rourke-Doherty from the Hair and Beauty Federation thinks her industry may not reopen until May.
The mixed messages coming out with the potential closure to May has, I suppose, left our industry in shock and disbelief.
Adrian Cummins from the Restaurants Association of Ireland says they need more support if their doors are to stay shut until midsummer. While James Benson from the Construction Industry Federation says it's a setback that most construction is set to remain shut next month.
Up until March we'll have lost somewhere in the region of 8,000 homes. It was only this time last year when we had an election that was based on housing and health.
It's hoped the government's Living with COVID plan will provide some clarity for these industries.
Meanwhile, a Waterford publicans called for more clarity about when they can reopen. Mary Brady-Sharp is also representative for the Vintners Federation of Ireland.
They should be giving us a little bit of if the numbers get to X, then we are going to move forward and we're going to allow this to happen. We just need a little bit of direction, and I don't feel we're getting direction from government right now.
The number of patients with COVID-19 at University Hospital Waterford has fallen to its lowest level in more than 6 weeks. According to the HSE, there were 39 patients with the virus at the facility last night. There were no new admissions during the previous 24 hours. The last time the figure was below 40 in Waterford was the 7th of January. The number of patients with COVID-19 in intensive care remains unchanged at 4. Around 100 homes and businesses remain without power in Waterford this afternoon. It's down from a high of 1,400 this morning. Crews from ESB are working to restore supply to the remaining customers in Clashmore in West Waterford and Gracestew in Waterford City. An orange rainfall warning remains in place in Waterford until 9 o'clock tonight. However, there are no reports of significant flooding in Waterford at present. The public are to have their say in a proposal to slow traffic through the village of Leamy Brine. The recommendation by Transport Infrastructure Ireland is to remove the slip road from the N25 to the R676 Carrick Road, instead forcing traffic to slow down and make a turn further up the road. A public consultation will take place before councillors in the Cumra area have their say on it again in April. Gabriel Hines, Senior Roads Engineer with the local authority, explains the reasoning behind the proposal.
It's not to facilitate vehicles, it's to protect the vulnerable road users and reduce speed. Obviously, as you come to Lee Brian at present, you can slip off that slip road, and it's very convenient for you to do that. And you can do it at reasonable speed, as our surveys have shown. And the reason that we want to remove that is to stop those vehicles doing that. It makes them slow down. They, in turn, are slowing the traffic down behind them. And in that way, you're getting the maximum reduction in speed by this scheme.
Fishermen that traditionally use the Port of Waterford to moor their vessels during bad weather may no longer be able to tie up at the city's North Quays. That's according to Dunmory's councillor Pat Fitzgerald, who says that private ownership may lead to a loss of safe berthing facilities. In the past, boats that use the Port of Dunmore would have used the inner port in hazardous conditions. Sinn Féin's Pat Fitzgerald says it could impact the port's functionality.
It could impede the ability of the Port of Dunmore to function properly in severe weather conditions, or in a month of severe weather. That valuable resource of safe haven in Waterford City and the upper port region is the berthage there now is now very limited.
An artisan food shop in Tramore will shortly launch a new e-commerce site. Cove Stores in Newtown's nominated in the New Business of the Year category in this Friday's Waterford Business Awards. The shop, which has been in existence for many years, was given a rebirth in 2019 and has an emphasis on good quality, locally sourced and sustainable produce. Following an Enterprise Ireland grant to enhance its retail offering, Cove Stores is launching an online shop this spring. Operations Manager Claire Williams says it'll really widen the market.
Yeah, so we're really excited to have secured the Enterprise Ireland grant. People from further afield outside of Tramore do want to buy from us, which is very exciting. So we are launching the online shop. It'll be in the coming weeks. It's a big project, but we are very excited. And again, we want the look and feel of the website to reflect the look and feel of our store, so quite kind of natural and earthy.
Make the smart play with Virgin Media. Check out their smart home packages at Virgin Media, George's Street, Waterford.
Sponsors of the sports news on WLR.
Starting with soccer, Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel has admitted he tried to sign Luis Suarez when he was still in charge at Paris Saint-Germain last summer. The Uruguayan sharpshooter opted for Atletico Madrid when he left Barcelona and has scored 16 goals in 24 appearances this season. The Blues play their first leg of their Championship League last 16 tie against Atletico in the neutral city of Bucharest this evening. Tuchel knows that even at 34, Suarez is as much of a threat as he ever was.
He chose to stay in Spain. He changed for Atletico, and again he proves his quality. Is a natural striker. I think is a born striker, born as a striker, and he has the certain mentality that only strikers have, and this mentality to show his will, his intensity, his anger, and to score, and is never satisfied.
Elsewhere in the competition tonight, champions Bayern Munich are away to Lazio. The Germans have lost and drawn in their last two league matches since being crowned World Club champions earlier this month. Both matches kick off at 8. In the Premier League this evening, Leeds United welcomes Southampton to Ellen Road for a 6 o'clock kick-off. There are 6 matches in the Championship, with the leaders Norwich City away to Birmingham. In rugby, the Ireland squad are back training today ahead of Saturday's Six Nations match with Italy in Rome. All of the Irish players remain free of COVID-19 after 4 rounds of COVID-19 PCR testing. There have been no further positive results from the latest round of testing in the France squad. 10 players have already contracted the virus, putting this weekend's Six Nations match against Scotland in doubt. A decision on whether the game will go ahead will be made tomorrow. In athletics, Phil Healy says running a personal best time over the weekend has given her a boost ahead of the European Indoor Championships in Poland early next month. The 26-year-old, who trains at the WIT Arena and the Regional Sports Centre in Waterford, ran a personal best time over 400 metres. She's one of many Olympic hopefuls that FBD, as the primary sponsors of Team Ireland, are honoured to support on the road to Tokyo. Healy says her performance over the weekend is a good sign ahead of the European Indoors.
very lucky at the moment to have elite exemptions to have my normal training facilities in Waterford with WIT Arena and the RSC and having the support there. But to come out and have the opportunity to race, there is no better feeling, and it is that confidence boost, because especially for me, I have the science and training, but I'm a believer I need to do it in a race to have that concrete evidence to know that I can actually execute it on the day. So it is super, and to come away with that boost, knowing that I'm in the best shape of my life ahead of European Indoor Championships, is very exciting.
Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Water.